Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name's Josh Smith, the founder of Aligner Marketing. And in today's video, I want to talk about why I believe that the clear aligner market is one of the best markets for GP dentists to dominate in 2026 and beyond, especially if you're tired of the status quo in dentistry and you're looking for more leverage as a practice owner. Before I go any further, I want to make it known that I'm not saying that you should stop doing the types of dentistry that you love. I'm not saying to abandon restorative work, implants, or anything like that. What I am saying is that clear aligners can be one of the most powerful ways to create leverage in your practice, and leverage is what breaks doctors out of the same production loop year after year. So let's get into it. So when you zoom out and you really look at it, traditional dentistry is mostly reactive. Okay. Patients come in because something hurts, a tooth broke, insurance says that it's time, or they feel obligated to be there. Under those circumstances, very few patients are excited to come in. And because of that, insurance ends up dictating timing, coverage, pricing. And when you stack all of that together, it creates a ceiling. You can only see so many patients, you can only do so many procedures, and you're operating under a lot of constraints that you don't control. Now, that's not a knock on dentistry. That's just how the model works. Now, when it comes to clear aligners and why I think they're the best market to dominate in 2026 and beyond, really breaks down into four reasons. The first reason is that aligners sit in a completely different category of dentistry. They live at the intersection of healthcare, aesthetics, lifestyle, and consumer choice. People don't get aligners because something is wrong in the traditional sense. They get aligners because they want something better. And that's a massive shift. I like to say that it's always easier to sell a want than it is to sell a need. There's no pain barrier. There's no fear. There's no insurance argument that you have to win. You're talking to a patient who already wants the outcome. Now, the second reason is that the market is growing fast. In fact, it's the fastest growing vertical in dentistry. It's growing faster than any other procedure or service. At the current rate of growth, it's on track to exceed $60 billion over the next 7 years. Now, that type of growth doesn't just happen because of hype. It happens because behavior is changing. People care about their smile now more than ever. They see it on Zoom, on social media, in photos and in videos, and demand like that doesn't just disappear. Now, the third reason why clear aligners are the best market to dominate is because they are not a niche market. Up to 80% of people could benefit from aligners in some form. That's not a small audience. That's the majority of the population. And compared to other cosmetic procedures, aligners fit into daily life, they're discreet, and they're far more financially accessible. You're not asking someone to change who they are, you're offering something that fits into how they already live. The fourth reason, and something that not a lot of doctors are aware of, is that there is this big supply gap. So while the demand for aligners is growing rapidly, the number of practices truly positioned to deliver them well is growing very, very slowly. Now, don't get me wrong, most offices do offer aligners, but very few actually talk about them consistently, present them confidently, or build real systems around them. Right? Most are passive when it comes to offering aligners. And because of that, it creates a massive gap between demand and supply. Gaps like that don't last forever, but while they exist, they are incredibly profitable. And lastly, this is where aligners really separate themselves. With the right systems in place, your team can handle almost the entire process, right? So they can create awareness, educate patients, run the consults, close the cases, and manage the follow-up. In that, the doctor's role becomes more focused and efficient, and that's the real leverage. Aligners are also sold as a premium product, okay? So most cases land around the $5,000 to $7,000 range. They're not insurance driven, so patients expect to pay out of pocket. That means fewer barriers, more control, and more predictable revenue. I've personally seen practices add 7 figures a year from aligners alone. They're not working longer hours. They're not taking on more stress. They simply committed to a service that already had demand and built structure around it. That's the difference. Right now, aligners are still in an early phase in most markets locally. Most communities are wide open. Most competitors are passive. Consumer expectations are still forming, but that won't last forever. Competition will increase, expectations will rise, and that gap will close. The practices that win won't be the ones who just offer aligners. They'll be the ones who decide to own the category locally. This isn't about replacing the dentistry that you love. It's about building leverage. It's about creating a real revenue stream that doesn't require you to be in the chair for the next 20 or 30 years just to make a living. For GP dentists who want more control, more upside, and more freedom, aligners are one of the smartest markets to dominate in 2026 and beyond. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with a colleague that might need to hear this, and I'll catch you in the next one.